Alright, hi, it's Sunday. That means it's True Blood night. This is my first YouTube video about True Blood, but hopefully I can cover everything that happened in an hour because it's just absolutely crazy. So this is the third episode and it's called Whatever I Am, You Made Me, which I guess is pretty good because it's all about makers and who they made and how they were made and all the vampire business. So let's get to it. So first of all, let's look at Tara's storyline, which kind of showed up in a bunch of other people's storyline. So last we saw, Tara had been changed into a vampire, and then she went a little nuts, and Suki and Elsie, not Suki and Elsie, Suki and Lafayette were trying to calm her down and make a place for her before the light came, but she ran off, and so they spent the entire episode looking for her, and I'll get to that later. Um, so then we switch to, after Tara runs away, we switch to Bill and Eric, who are in front of the authority, and their biggest problem is they're going to be put to the true death, but instead they say, well, hey, we'll negotiate you Russell Edgington for you letting us live. And they're like, oh, well, weren't you supposed to already killed Russell Edgington? No, they had to admit they'd actually just put him in cement, but hadn't actually given him the true death. So then so now they have to go get Russell Edgington, and there's a whole big thing about that. So then we come to the club, Fantasia, I think it's called, and Pam's running Eric's club, and Suki shows up asking her to call Tara because Pam's her maker, so she has the ability to call Tara to wherever she is, and Pam refuses, so they get in this fight, and then Suki like fairy slams her with her light flashing hand thing that she does, which is pretty cool. So then Pam gets a little mad because like she's just been kind of upped by a fairy. Anyway, Suki leaves. Um, so then we switch to Merlot's where Sam's out doing something or other, and it turns out he smells somebody in the woods, and it turns out to be Tara. So Tara comes in, and she needs his help, so Sam gives her like tons of true blood to drink, and then stashes her in the walk-in freezer so she won't die from the sunlight in the middle of the day. Meanwhile, back at the Authority, Nan Flanagan, who was killed by Bill or Eric, I can't remember, last season, she's dead, and that's why they're in trouble anyway, because they killed Nan Flanagan. But she's like the person for their area. Now they've given that job to that new Reverend Newland guy who's only been a vampire for 4 months, and he's all happy to bridge the gap with the humans, tell them whatever they need to be told because they're gullible. I don't know what's going on there. It's just like I cannot believe this Reverend Newland guy who is all like up in vampires' faces, hating them, suddenly is all okay with it. Like that's just weird. So, and it doesn't happen in any of the books, so there's that. Tina Majorino was a child star in the late 80s, early 90s. And was on Napoleon Dynamite and whatnot. She shows up in this episode. She's a vampire who puts this thing on Bill and Eric, so if they do anything wrong, there's like an insta stake in there, and this stake would immediately kill them. So I don't too happy with that because I love Bill and Eric. I don't want them to just be staked or anything crazy like that. So they have these like insta stabbing devices on them. So who knows what's going to happen with that. So then, let's see what else happens. Andy, okay, if you'll remember, Andy had relations with Holly, the witch, and her two sons came in and they were all mad. So anyway, all the people at the police station apparently are looking at Facebook, and there's Andy's naked self all over Facebook, so he's not too happy. And he later goes out and has a conversation with Holly about her sons, and doesn't seem to really care that he's on Facebook anymore, but they decide that they're going to go study, so, whatever. That doesn't really get me going anyway. Um, the Pelts show up looking for Debbie, and if you'll remember, Sookie killed Debbie. Debbie's crazy. She tried to kill Sookie because she was all jealous about her being around Elsie, and then that's how Tara ended up dying and becoming a vampire, because she jumped in front of the bullet that was supposed to kill Sookie. So anyway, her parents are in town looking for her, and according to them, she's an only child. But if you are a reader of the books, you will know that Debbie has a sister named Sandra. And Sandra's even crazier than Debbie and goes after Sookie in some of the books. So, and another part that was really interesting tonight that's from the books is Tara's not really a big character in the book. She's not half as crazy as she is in this series, but she has her own dress shop called Tara's Togs. Well, tonight it was called Tracy's Togs, and there was this lady named Tracy giving nice outfits to Jessica. So Jessica's in there getting herself all dolled up because she wants to go see Jason with her nice, sweet new outfit. And a mystery guy comes in who apparently smells awesome. Now, as a reader of the book, I know that fairies smell very awesome to vampires. They're irresistible. And we haven't seen Claude yet. Claude is Claudine's triplet brother in the book. Apparently he has 16 sisters in this TV series, which he's there picking up dresses for. But I marked my words, that guy was a fairy. And he'll show up at some point, and I bet you his name will be Claude, because they have not done Claude, and he's super hot model guy, fairy. So I think he'll show up. So I already dealt with that. Jason's storyline was very strange tonight. He ran into some teacher that apparently had an inappropriate relationship with him in high school, is my guess. And then he tries to strike up the relationship again, and then realizes that it was wrong to begin with, and starts to want to talk with girls. And this is a side of Jason Stackhouse we most often do not see. So at the end, Jessica shows up, and he says, "Oh, I just want to talk." And she's like, "Okay, I'll go put on some sweatshirts, and I'll be your girlfriend, your friend that's a girl." And it's all good. So that was the end of Jason's story. The Pelt showed up a couple more times talking to Elsie, asking what the heck's going on. Bill, okay, there was a lot of flashbacks with Pam tonight. She remembered back to when she was made by Eric, and she ran like a house of ladies. I can't say anything more than that. And Eric became a customer there. And she asked Eric to turn her because she knew that her life wasn't going to be that great. And when he refused, she slit her wrists, and so he was forced to turn her into a vampire. Meanwhile, we also got a little glimpse of Bill and Lorena, his maker, who was killed a couple seasons back, who were also in the House of Ladies, feasting on the blood of the ladies. So that was interesting. Bill and Eric, the end of their story kind of ended up, they're going off to find Russell Edgington, but this old vampire's there, 2,000-year-old lady. I think that Eric is actually almost as old as that. I think he's 1,000 years old, but this lady was 2,000, and apparently she's got stories written about her. I couldn't quite catch her name, so if anyone knows who she is, please write that down below in my comments, because I don't know who she is. All I know is that she had a busy day. First she was with Bill, then she was with Eric, and at the end she was with Christopher Maloney from CSI or whatever, SVU or whatever he's from. I don't know his vampire name. I think it's Roland. So she was with 3 guys that day. And I don't know what she's up to, and frankly, I don't quite understand what's going on with the Authority. There's some kind of old Bible thing, the vampires being created in the image of God, and going back to that way of thinking instead of being what they are now, which is mainstreamed. So I don't know. So back to the Tara story to end it all off. Basically, Tara is in the freezer, and she comes out, and Arlene and Alcide and Lafayette and Sam and Sookie are all there. And she's like, she's ticked off that she's a vampire, and she pretty much tells them all off, and a couple of them are like, what? What's Tara's a vampire? What's going on? And then she runs off, smashes herself into a tanning salon, puts herself in a tanning bed, to try to commit vampire suicide. And just as she's doing that, Pam, there's a flash to Pam, and Pam, her maker's like, oh, what are you doing? In worse words than that, because it's a very nasty rated show, but um, Pam is probably going to get her out of that suntan in bed next time around. So um, that's pretty much what I got. I got to tell you, I want Bill and Eric back with Sookie. Those storylines have to come back together because this whole authority thing is boring. Maybe when Russell Edgington comes in, I'll be like, woohoo! But until then, it's like, oh, please stop with the vampire Bible nonsense. And then Sookie and Lafayette running around trying to hide Debbie Pelt. Oh, right, I almost forgot. At the very end, Sookie finally tells Alcide that she killed Debbie, and he gets all mad because he thinks, why didn't you tell me you lied to me? I'm just going to go look for her and waste my time, and she's already dead, and he is not a happy dude. But we'll see how that pans out, because I think that it'll be very interesting. I like Alcide and Sookie, and what's interesting about the books is that Debbie Pelt dies before Eric loses his memory in the book series, and he actually helps hide her body, which is why the whole memory thing goes together. But the series really takes bits and pieces of the books and then does what they want with it, which is fine. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Um, Eric is still really cute. He's my favorite, but I need to have him back with Miss Sookie. That's my favorite thing. So until next week, put your comments below if you liked or disliked this episode or you didn't like what I said. Who really cares? But I still want to know who that chick is. That vampire 2,000-year-old chick. So later.